I'm Andrew Beach. Welcome to Conversion Optimization. Right, let's crush it. So let's start off by looking at two conversion funnels. We're going to spend $2,000 on marketing. We're going to get 10,000 visitors. Now the first funnel has got a conversion rate of 1%. The second funnel converts at 2%. And look at the difference. We get twice as many customers and the CAC halves. Good times. So let's have a look at how we might go about doing that. This is the conversion optimization process that I put together over far too many years doing conversion optimization. Gather information, think about traffic, think about the structure of the sale, trust, calls to action, and then test your hypothesis. So this presentation has got lots of quantitatives and qualitatives, which I always struggle to say. But let's start off with quantitative information. Customer surveys. Now, again, I think really actually what I mean here in a way is non-buyer surveys rather than customer surveys. So one of the things we do is whenever anyone, well, first off, we structure our checkouts to get the email address at a very early stage in the checkout. And again, if you're in the European Union, you will need to think about the GDPR as you do that. And then we then get in touch with the customers who didn't buy and simply ask them, why didn't you buy? In fact, our emails will often used to be from the founder of the company. We find a large number of people will take the time to actually send an email saying why they didn't buy. Site search. I think every e-commerce site should have a site search. Now, first off, it's useful to people, but secondly, it gives you a list of things people are searching for, which actually shows you things that people are struggling to find. Maybe a product that you don't have, or perhaps just something, a policy or something you couldn't easily find on your site. Site search can be very easily hooked up to Google Analytics, which will give you a list of what people have been searching for. I would also again benchmark the conversion rate. In some ways that maybe is where you want to start with. If your conversion rate is very good, then you're maybe going to struggle to do very much with conversion optimization. On the other hand, if your conversion rate is below average, you've got a bit of work to do. As a rule of thumb, well, I think it's always the case, the higher the price, the lower the conversion rate. With a free product, I've seen conversion rates as high as 50%. Another rule of thumb is that if you have a choice of a one-off purchase or a subscription, the subscription will have half the conversion rate of the one-off purchase. And actually for that reason, I generally don't like mixing subscription and non-subscription in the same website, because you'll often end up paying that conversion rate penalty, but without the benefit of signing people up to subscriptions. And Google Analytics is a great source of information. I look at bounce rates, and certainly if you've got a page with a bounce rate higher than 50%, a landing page higher than 50%, that's something that's really worth looking at in detail. It will show you exit pages, which could be pages with a problem, and it will also show you the checkout funnel visualization. So let's just have a look at that. Here we have the Diet Chef site. Now, if we were going to do work, it's actually clear here the sign in register page is actually doing quite well. We've got 2/3 of people proceeding. On the other hand, we've only got a quarter of people on the choose meals proceeding. So certainly that would indicate that choose meals is the area where we need to concentrate our work if we were doing conversion optimization. Okay, so let's look at qualitative information, the sort of fuzzier stuff rather than the number stuff. I mentioned actually the checkout management emails, and I guess here I'm just thinking, I guess what I'm trying to do actually from this is put together a top 10 reasons that customers aren't buying. and again, I will review the response to these emails. I will look at customer service emails, and I will look at chat transcripts. And I'm a huge fan of having chat on a website, because again, I think you've got a good chance that people who have a problem will hit chat and tell you about it. And if someone reports a problem to you, you can safely assume that at least 10 other people have the same problem and didn't bother getting in touch. And certainly if I have a problem with the website, I'll just leave. I won't normally go to the bother of telling the people running the website what my problem is. And again, obviously, once you've got a top 10 reasons that people aren't buying, you're well on your way to conversion optimization just by fixing them. Usability testing, I think, is a great thing to do. In the US, I use usertesting.com. In Europe, I use whatusersdo.com, which will also give me different languages. And then I can give people tasks, and they will send through videos of the people doing these tasks. Every time I've done this, I've learned something. Traffic. This is very, very important. And in fact, I would say, in my experience, the times I've had the biggest success at improving the conversion rate has been through traffic. So different channels definitely have different conversion rates. Television can be very, very high. I've seen it maybe 5–10% conversion. PPC, on the other hand, is much lower. And again, if you think about consumer behaviour, when you're buying through PPC, you'll quite often click, go back, click, go back, click, go back, and go through quite a few different websites. So PPC traffic will virtually always convert at a lower rate. And display advertising tends to be the lowest of all. My theory on display ads, certainly most display adverts I click on, I clicked on by mistake. I think another common problem is a mismatch between the advert and the website. Now, quite often this can happen when you end up with hundreds or even thousands of adverts and something changes, and you're then making a false promise to people. So again, that means the traffic is arriving with a different expectation to your landing page. And again, I think as I mentioned earlier, Google Analytics, if you see a bounce rate higher than 50% on a landing page, that's probably a sign that you should look at it. Some traffic, though, will just never convert. So here we've got Celtic Football Club, and this is proper football, not American football, proper British soccer. So in Glasgow, we've got two teams, we've got Rangers and Celtic. When Celtic are playing away and there's a lot of traffic of Celtic supporters, the Celtic store does incredibly well. On the other hand, when their rivals Rangers are playing, no matter what the Celtic store does, they're going to have a very, very low conversion rate. So think about that yourselves. In your company, are you generating traffic that will simply never convert? And if you are, stop paying for it. Okay, next up, structure of the sale. Most websites are simply one stage, and slightly crudely I maybe call this the sex on the first date approach. So I think for a lower value or a simple sale, simply saying come to the website, buy, will be done and dusted in 10 or 20 minutes is great. It's the best option. And you've got a very simple flow of people arrive, convert, or don't, and that's it. If, though, you've got a more expensive or more complex product, you may see an improvement through moving to a two-stage sale. And in a two-stage sale, stage one is getting the contact details, and then you sell to them and hope to convert them sometime down the line. So effectively you ended up with two conversion rates, a conversion rate to getting someone's details and then a second conversion rate to sale. I think it's also important not just to get their details, but to get some qualifying information. So again, depending on the product, you might want that qualifying information to be perhaps age or gender, or when the insurance renewal is due, this sort of thing. So you actually get leads, but you get slightly more, rather than just a list of names, they are actually proper qualified leads. Trust. Do you trust me? I'm very trusting. Lack of trust is often a reason for poor conversion. So again, one of the real big ways to combat that is with reviews. And I think these reviews should be from a third-party source, perhaps Trustpilot, reviews.com, Google Shopping, these sort of things. I think, and I think more detailed product reviews can be really helpful too, to steer people to the right products. Press quotes and expert testimonials are great. And again, we certainly see regularly on e-commerce sites all the different logos of the TV stations and the newspapers and magazines. Celebrities' testimonials in the US can work quite well. In Europe, they don't. People in Europe are just much more cynical. Products awards won, I think, are good. Now, I think general awards, certainly winning a marketing award is probably not such a good thing, or a business award, because all that shows is you're good at selling. But an actual product award is very powerful. I'm a big believer, even in e-commerce, in having the full postal address on every page, along with a phone number, ideally toll-free. And again, even though I'm not really expecting people to use them, it just helps with trust. The right domain name is important. In the US, you really probably do want to be a .com. In the UK, you want to be .co.uk. In France, you want to be .fr. In Germany, you want to be .de. So certainly having the appropriate local domain name will improve conversion. And of course now, every page of the website has got to be secure. And finally, a very strong money-back guarantee is good. Now, in most countries, you'll actually be required to do this by law anyway, but you may as well make a feature of it. Calls to action. Obviously, big green buy now buttons are great. The only thing better than a strong call to action is a lot of good calls to action. I think it is important to be clear of the one thing you want the user to do. I think multiple calls to action for different things are not a good idea. So on the page, you should be clear what is the one thing you want the visitor to do. And I'm a believer too that there should always be a call to action visible above the fold. You don't want the customers to have to scroll to hit the call to action. And the bigger the better. And indeed, a big bold call to action is not just a good thing on the website, but in any advertising that you do. So other stuff, the more payment methods the better, and it's also worth remembering that PayPal is a good thing to have. It's trusted, people know they can get a refund easily. In terms of cards, you probably want anywhere, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. In North America, you'd also want Discover, you'd want JCB for Japan, you'd want UnionPay for China. But it's also worth remembering that people do move around a lot. So, here I am in Edinburgh, Scotland, but we've got a lot of Chinese citizens with UnionPay, we've got a lot of Americans with Discover cards. So even if you aren't actually specifically aiming at these other countries, it's still good to support their payment methods. And okay, it won't hugely impact conversion rate, but 0.1% here, 0.2% there, and it all adds up. Shipping is a big one, and I think you want clarity on where you ship, how fast it is, and what's going to cost. And that should be available up front without going in deep into the checkout process. Thinking carefully about headlines is very important. Again, everyone will read the headline, but people won't necessarily read beyond that unless you've got a good headline. I have a love of countdown timers. just makes me smile. But countdown timers are absolutely fantastic. And I think you should always have a countdown timer to for next day shipping, or perhaps you've got an offer that's due to expire. Conventions are definitely emerging, and if you want to see what the dominant conventions are, simply go to Amazon.com. And there might be situations where you need to break the convention, but I would think very, very carefully about it, and only break the convention if you absolutely have to. And again, as a general rule, more copy is better than less copy. So let's have lots of detail. Sure, not everyone will read it, but the detail is there for the people who want it. And again, as I mentioned earlier, subscriptions will have the conversion rate, but it might be worth it for the improved lifetime value. Okay, so you've gone through all of this, you've thought of the things you're going to fix. The key thing is to test your hypothesis. Now, frequently we've tried to optimise conversion rate and I've actually worsened it. This happens all the time. So make sure you measure what you're doing. You can either do simple A/B testing, where you're testing just two things, or multivariate, where you're testing more things at once. If you're using multivariate, you'll need to use something like Visual Website Optimizer or Google Optimize to do the maths for you. Or again, which is a much simpler process, you could simply set up an identical ad group going to two different pages and just A/B test that way. Okay, so let's just have a quick run through the process. So start off by gathering information and develop a top 10 list of things to fix. Think carefully about traffic. Have you got traffic that will simply never convert? Think about whether you should move from a one-stage to two-stage sale if there's a high cost or a complex product. Think about trust. Make sure you've got big, clear calls to action. And then when you are making changes, I think as a general rule, change big things. Like changing a word here or there, changing a colour, these things tend to have very little impact. It's the big things that will really move the bottom line. And finally, test to make sure that what you've done has actually worked. So thank you very much. See you next time.